Hey everyone, I want to show you guys my cute dachshund shirt that Ryan got me for Christmas. Okay, so I realized that I need to do kind of a back to basics, even though this channel is new, but a back to basics about the four like overarching kind of categories in my new channel here. And so we're going to start with the empowered wife, the surrendered wife, and what does that look like? And how can you get started with the skills, what books to read, and there's even a Facebook group that's really helpful, and there's multiple Facebook groups. And so, so the skills, there's six, Laura Doyle calls them 6 intimacy skills. And you can find these skills within other marriage books, but what she's done is she's kind of encapsulated them all into one easy place to learn about them, and very practical advice on how to implement them. And she has an amazing podcast. I'll link down below. I'll link all of Laura. Actually, I'll link to my blog post, which has all the things. If you don't know, I have a new website with the same blooming in the light motif. And okay, so 6 intimacy skills. So the first one is self-care. Hands down, 100%. This is the biggest skill, because if you're not joyful, if you're not happy, if you have not found your, like Coach Carol talks about moving the needle from like 0 to 10, like a gas tank. If you're not like up in the 8, 9s, 10s, it doesn't mean you need to be bouncing off the walls, but it does mean that you have like an interior smile, right? It does mean that like, even if your smile is not coming out for whatever reason, like inside you feel peaceful. Once I heard a nun talk about how even if there's like tumultuous waves on the surface, like your deeper ocean is calm. So things might be coming to you, or maybe it was the other way around. It was a really good analogy. But the whole idea is that even when things come at you, like you're keeping this kind of levelness. So self-care is huge, huge, huge. And I'll be obviously doing a lot of videos about self-care. I have one already. And I'm not going to do these skills in order because I don't remember the order in the book. But the next one would be respect. So respecting your husband, saying things like, whatever you think, or I hear you. And just really like not babbling at him, but like respecting his time, respecting his words, respecting his decisions, not like second guessing him. And that goes along. There's actually 10, I think, in the book ways that we can be disrespectful to our husbands. And I'll make a video about that once I find my book. And I actually need to get a hard copy. The third one that we'll talk about is relinquishing control. And that I have a video. I talked about that a little bit already. But this idea of like really being able to step back and focus on what's on your paper and not trying to like constantly watch his emotions, watch his, decisions or indecisions, watch what he's doing with his money, watching what he's doing with his time, watching what he's wearing. Like you're relinquishing control, and anything that's like his decision, you just allow him to have his decision. Right. And so that's been huge in my marriage, because I was just always like nitpicking or like second guessing him. And I mean, I think relinquishing control and respect go really hand in hand. The next one would be receiving graciously. So saying thank you by itself is very feminine. So and there's 4 ways that you can receive, receive graciously. And it's like receiving help, receiving compliments, receiving gifts. Always forget. And so really like think about like gift giving is a really concrete example of ways we've received poorly in the past. And Laura Doyle actually has an entire book on receiving called something like As Good as You Can Stand. I'll link it down below. But and Coach Carol also has some videos on receiving. So I'm going to link Coach Carol's video, YouTube channel below. But this idea of just saying thank you, and then just that's it. So if your husband tells you you're beautiful, you don't go, oh, I feel so fat today. Or if, someone says, I love your skirt, you go, oh, this whole thing, you just say thank you. If someone offers to help you in the kitchen after a party, you say thank you. And that's it. Because when we reject the giver, right, when we reject the gift, we reject the giver. And so that's something I've been really, working on, as well as if your husband no longer buys you flowers, if your husband no longer takes you out on dates, it's possible that you stopped receiving well. Even receiving intimacy. Try that on for size, right? Even receiving the gift that is intimacy, because it is, right? It totally is a gift. The other one is Showing gratitude. Okay, so the goal, this is a fun one, but the goal is, and as Catholics, we should be living in gratitude anyway. We always do with our rosary, our family rosary, we always have our intentions, and then we have to say at least 3 things we're grateful for that day, big or small, to cultivate this environment of gratitude. But if you have not said thank you to your husband, and not just like thank you, but like thank you for taking out the garbage, I was able to blank during that time, or thank you for taking out the garbage. I really appreciate not having to like run out of the house in the morning and doing it. Or thank you for taking out the garbage. It's so stinky and I just don't like to do it. Or whatever it is, like really like make him your hero and help him to understand that like when he does something for you, like not only do you see it, but you can tell him how it benefits you. I want to say that Aurora on the Will to Wife has a really good podcast about this. So I'll just link her. She has a really great podcast that talks about like the skills in Catholicism and a lot of theology. And so I'll put that in the link. I realized I forgot to link it in the last video, so I'll do that too. The last one I talked about. And then how many was that? I'm almost out. I'm already over time, but I think that was 5, right? So the last one is vulnerability. And this is when we really like I used to not realize that the word safe needed to be part of my marriage. And like even like my friend said that she wanted, a safe place, a safe marriage. And I was like, what are you talking about? But now I realize that that's like the biggest goal is to be a safe place for our husbands so that he can become a safe place for us. So vulnerability starts with us. So if we want our husbands to come to us and tell us what's on their heart, we have to be vulnerable first. And that does not mean annoying or needy. Ooh, let's get neediness completely out of the picture. But being vulnerable. So saying things like, I can't. Or telling him what you need. I need a nap. You can ask yourself, how do I feel? What do I need? But vulnerability, and we could talk a lot about that, but like this idea of really being vulnerable with your husband, really like being willing to show him like your hurt and also your fears and your desires, like talking about your vision for the future. We are the vision keepers. And I'll link below. Coach Carol has a great video about being the vision keeper in your marriage. But so those are in a nutshell, like the empowered wife like system. And there's lots of little tweaks and things in them. But if you read The Surrendered Wife is her first book, and it takes about an hour. It's really short. But the empowered wife is the one where she talks a lot about like the skills breaking down bit by bit. And like I said, she has a podcast where each podcast kind of follows the same route. She also has like a free circle group you can sign up for. And then she has, of course, like coaching you can pay for as well. But it's not like in the Catholic realm. Like it's very like, kind of straight to the point skills. And so when I was looking for, a marriage coach and a life coach, I sought out someone who was Catholic that shared our faith, and that's how I found Coach Carol. And Coach Carol goes like way beyond the skills because she talks about like mindset, and she has metanoia, Catholic metanoia training, and the mindset stuff is really so powerful. But these skills in general, like just these 6 skills, like if you can really start to apply them in your marriage in a really real way, you're going to like completely like change your marriage. And at first, sometimes we practice them like in a manipulative way. Like I want my husband to act differently, so I'm going to start doing these things. And if you find yourself doing that, like step back, because it needs to be for you. It needs to be all this needs to be because really this whole channel is about growing into the Catholic woman you're meant to be, finding that peace and joy, and really being able to step out as this authentic Catholic woman. And the skills, like really relinquishing the control and kind of creating the space. Like Laura Doyle talks about, like creating the space to all of a sudden like have to think like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what is the purpose here? Like I'm no longer watching everyone else. So now I have to watch myself. Now I have to really answer some big questions. And so anyway, there you go. Way over time, but those are your 6 intimacy skills. That's your Laura Doyle, like empowered wife program. And it can go way beyond like the skills, but the skills are the foundation. And I think that, and I think they'll really bless you. So, okay, bye.